It's called Take Two, New Beginnings and Happy Endings.
Your guide to creating happy endings and new beginnings.
Okay,
yes.
And in your own words, the book is the inspiration, motivation, gentle nudge, or kick in the ass to change the energy and direction of your life. And I needed that this week. Can I just tell you how much I needed that? And I also have been talking about it with all my girlfriends.
Oh, that's really nice.
Because I think that a lot of people need this right now. What do you think particularly sings about this to so many of us?
Wow, it's
right
universal.
now?
You know, I think whether it's a little tweak, a tune-up, a major transformation, or just taking charge of where you are now. It's everybody, because the music to your life does change.
Yes.
It changes when you get a diagnosis. It changes when you get divorced, if you get fat, or you get fired, or you get depressed, or maybe you're just stuck.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, these are things that happen along life's highway, and they're unavoidable. So you may as well kind of get next to the idea that life's going to transform. Successful people understand that it's going to change. And so you've got to let go of where you were so that you can be open to becoming the woman you need to be for the next stage. Because your music is playing somewhere over here, but you've got to break up with who you were. You got to break up with that girl, you know, and fall in love with a new version of yourself. And that's hard sometimes. You know, because you kind of get stuck on, well, when I was thinner and when I made more money, when I had a big title, all of those things that we think define us.
Now, you write about, for caregivers, sometimes they don't have, well, first of all, they don't have the choice. Their life changes.
Right.
You know, when you have a loved one who is diagnosed with autism, with Alzheimer's, your life changes overnight, and you're oftentimes not prepared to deal with it. So you write in the book, you share stories about how you rebooted your life after it was changed dramatically by Alzheimer's. Tell us about that, Leeza, because I knew you before that occurred to you, and you knew me before autism occurred with Wyatt.
The end of the innocence.
The end of the innocence. Tell us how your mother's diagnosis, your grandmother's diagnosis transformed you.
You're right. I think that caregivers most of all understand the message of take two. They don't have the luxury of calling for it. It's not like, oh great, I'm going to begin again. Life was, here's a scratch in your track, now what are you going to do? And you've got to figure out a way to show up for your new normal. And I think that it's easier for me to look at my lens watching you. It's much easier to see it for somebody else than it ever is to see it as it happens to ourselves. I went into it as I think most people do, kicking and screaming and reluctant and resistant.
Skid marks left on the road.
Yes, you know, please.
I can relate to that.
You know, pulling the covers up over my head. But the difference between people who ultimately emerge and you know, redefine is how long do you stay in that place? You know, because you've got to walk with the pain for a while.
That's an important point.
It is.
You walked in the pain.
You have to. That's your shadow side. You know, when you commit yourself to a mate, you say, most of the time, you know, okay, I'm taking you into my life for better or for worse, no matter what. We don't give ourselves that same promise very often. And if you could take your situation and say, no matter what happens to me, I know I'm going to be okay. I'm the, you know, you've got to find, when I talk about finding your story, so what is your story?
What is your story?
So you get a new story when something happens. So, but at the core of it has to be, I'm the kind of person who's going to say, I'll walk with this pain. This is my shadow side. I'm going to embrace that this is a part of me, but it's not the best part of me. It's a part of me that won't define me. I'll let it stay for a while till it informs me. And then I'm going to say, what's the lesson? Got that. Here's the lesson now. I'm going to learn that and I'm going to move forward, forward, forward. And if I fail, I will forgive quickly and I'll get back on track quickly. We get stuck on focusing on the failure. We all mess up. We all have days where we don't handle it right. Fine, so yes and. Every day you get to begin again. Every darn day.
Yeah, I have to say that one of the things that I'm finding in the book, and I really, this week, it's been a huge gift in my life, because I feel like you gave me permission to be where I'm at, that you gave me permission to succeed and permission to fail. And I think as women, we don't give ourselves that permission. And I needed to get it from you, and I did this week. And so I have to say thank you to that. And as I said, I'm sharing it with other people now and saying, do you feel like you're at a point in your life where you're someplace where you didn't imagine yourself you would be? And they're all going, yes.
You know, as I say, WTF happened to happily ever after.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly right.
But I'd love to hear from you. What was the moment that you realized, okay, things are different now, things have got to change, where you identified it and said, okay, now this is take two?
It wasn't a particular aha moment.
Okay.
It was a building up of things. And it did start with my mom getting sick. You know, her mom, my granny died, my mother then got Alzheimer's. I then started looking at, whoa, okay, I'm next in the lineup, wait a minute. It started there. Then the next sort of ripple effect was my marriage wasn't strong enough for my process of seeking who I wanted to be and needed to be for myself. I needed to be different then. And the person that needed to show up in my life then was not the person that was in that marriage. And then I said, okay, well, my job didn't seem like the right fit. So I left that job. Now, truth be told, they would have fired my butt, but I gracefully left and they allowed me to leave. Left the job. Then my daughter left home to go off on her own. So it was ding, 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 ding. These were the things that had defined me most.
And all of a sudden they were gone.
They were gone. The labels that had made me most comfortable.
Glamorous TV personality.
All the stuff.
Right.
All the stuff. Wife, mother, career woman, making a lot of money.
Right.
Wow. All those things were not there anymore. And so nothing was really wrong, but nothing fit. And so I think that's when you arrive at a place in your life that feels a little disappointing or empty, or where you feel like you kind of ask yourselves, and I know a lot of people relate to this, where am I? What happened to me? Where am I? And you don't want to say, oh, I'm depressed, although you kind of think you are, or I'm resentful, although you sort of are. You know, you're not really standing on a chair with a noose around your neck, but you know, when people say what's wrong, you want to spill it all out, but you can't articulate it.
Right.
It was that.
Right.
Do you know?
You know what I say? Well, actually, there's a tremendous presentation on TED. You guys know what TED is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we don't need to go in what it is now, but there's a researcher who's on there who is talking about when her life changed. And she says that basically she had a nervous breakdown or a spiritual awakening.
Which is code for becoming enlightened.
So basically, if you're having a breakdown, it's a spiritual awakening that you will emerge from.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's like Shannon and I call it the kitchen floor club.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we're all that member of that kitchen floor club. We were in that place where you're on the kitchen floor, crying, on your knees, praying to the God of your understanding, please help me, give me the answers, and I'll do anything you need me to do. We always put that in, right?
Yeah, right.
If you want me to go and be like the leader in this field as you became. But, you know, Leeza's been there. Shannon's been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
This is really important for all of you to hear this. You know, we may be sitting here on the other side of our transformation, but we were thick into it, right?
And we'll be there again. That's the other
And can I
thing.
say, I don't think I'm all the way on the other side of that transformation.
I'm not either.
I'm in process.
We're in process, right?
I mean, you know, our lives are always under construction, and you know, I think that what happens is, you know, over time, you stop asking the why me, whatever. You just kind of accept that you get what you get.
Yeah.
You get what you get. You may not ever be completely thrilled with it. You would rewrite the script differently, perhaps, but you rewrite the portions that you can.
Right.
And that's what this book is about.
Yes.
Like, okay, you're going to say, this is my narrative, and you have set your life up a certain way. You know, that's the thing that struck me was, wow, I have become this independent, autonomous, self-sustaining island because I set it up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to continue like that? Or would I like to be more vulnerable?
Yes.
Would I like to depend on people differently? Would I like to be taken care of? Yes.
Yes.
So I need to ask for that because I haven't done that in the past.